A fire was burning, lighting part of the shore, and an old woman's laughter was heard from the forest, which gave me goosebumps. Kolya kept looking toward the edge of the forest, afraid of those green-eyed monsters. They'll eat the boys, won't they? How are they out there? He thought about how those freaks were devouring his friends. Suddenly the edge of the forest stirred, and there was a snide giggle, like last night. Nicholas was frightened, his heart almost jumped out of his chest from it. "It's all right, I'm by the fire, they can't take me." He began to reassure himself. Hundreds of green eyes appeared between the trees, constantly moving from place to place, and the laughter began to intensify. "Here you are, freaks." And with those words Nicholas grabbed a burning log and threw it toward the edge of the forest. The monsters scattered sharply away from the light source that landed not far from them. Everyone fell silent. Hundreds of eyes turned their gaze toward Kolya. He stood, still staring in their direction, fearful of any action on the part of the creatures. Then there was a whistling sound. Kolya couldn't figure out what it was, as he suddenly jumped away sharply from the burning splinters that were flying all around him. "What's going on?" he said aloud. There was another whistle, and a sharp blow struck Kolya in the shin, breaking his bone. The creatures started throwing stones to get rid of him. Nikolai fell on his side and crouched in pain, and when he heard a rumble, he looked up and saw a hail of rocks flying toward him. He rolled over a couple of meters, fearing he might get hit, and for good reason. One of the rocks landed just at his head, loosening the ground. The creatures began to emerge from the forest, hurling cobblestones at the fire. Burning splinters and logs flew apart with each hit. In 5 minutes, it was quiet again, and the monsters sat down, staring at the smoldering remnants of the fire, waiting for even the slightest hint of light to disappear. There was no more laughter, there was an aggressive snarl. When the fire had completely dried up and the last piece of wood stopped smoldering, the freaks slowly, like ravenous beasts of prey, began to come closer and closer to Nikolai, surrounding him in a ring. After the circle closed, and Kolya was surrounded by these monsters, they rushed at him sharply, the whole crowd with an arrow.